Real quick, how you guys doing? My name is Romel Rose. I'm an actor, filmmaker here in Los Angeles, California. And I basically just wanted to make this YouTube channel to kind of give informational videos because I've self-produced a few short films over the past few years. And a lot of people ask me questions like, okay, how do I get started as a young filmmaker? You know, what are some of the steps that I need to take? So I kind of just wanted to make a quick video and inform you guys on some of the steps and stages of production. So to give kind of a backstory on me, I started off as an actor around like 2012. I was auditioning heavy. You know, I started booking independent roles and stuff like that. But I started to get frustrated because I was doing these projects and spending so much time on them, but nothing would ever happen with them. Like nobody was putting them online. They weren't getting into film festivals, and I felt like I was kind of wasting my time. And I started auditioning for bigger projects, but I wasn't booking. Like I would get callbacks. I even got, pinned for a few roles, but I wasn't actually booking the roles. So I became really frustrated. And I remember I was working a job. I was working a job, and one of my coworkers kind of told me, shout out to Pierre. He was like, "Yo, like, why don't you do your own thing? Like, why don't you produce your own films?" And I was like, "Nah, man, it don't really work like that." And he was like, "Nah, bro, like, that's the wave. Like, you should consider." So I saw this short film by Vin Diesel. It's called Multifacial, right? And it basically is a story about him and his experience as a biracial actor in Hollywood. So I saw that short film, and the story is like he did the short film and it got the attention of Steven Spielberg, and Steven Spielberg put him in his first major role, which is Saving Private Ryan. So I was like, I watched the film and I'm like, I could do that. Like, I have hella experiences, being a black man in Hollywood. So that's where the idea of High Yellow came from. It was heavily inspired by Multifacial by Vin Diesel. I'll put the link in the description if you guys haven't seen it and want to check it out. So I wrote High Yellow, and but I had no experience as a filmmaker. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I didn't know how to even direct a film. So I had this idea for America's Pitbull that I knew I could pull off because it was so simple and to the point, and I knew I could use my little brother as the actor. Like, I just knew the story I wanted to tell. So I kind of want to talk about that first, as far as like having an idea, right? Like having this idea, and people come to me all the time with ideas, but how do you translate the idea into a fully realized story, right? So you need to have a story in order to move forward, right? An idea, everybody has ideas, but what story are we telling? Like, what story are we telling? And if you think about your favorite film, right? Your favorite film has a character that starts off one way, and by the end of the film, he's a completely different person, right? That's called character arc. You need to move from idea to story, to understanding character, and then that's where the script comes in, right? So perfect example, I'll give you guys an example. So America's Pitbull, I wanted to explore this idea of, my little brother was at the time, he was a real life Marine, right? So, and he had just had his first baby, and I thought it was interesting. I wanted to play with the concept and the idea of, if he wears a uniform, he puts on a uniform, he's respected and he's in high regard, right? Like, people look at him a certain way. But if he puts on a hoodie and he walks outside, he's completely looked at differently, right? Like, we have a whole different perception of him because he has on, just like the fact that he has on a hoodie. So I thought that concept and the idea was interesting to kind of play with. And right away, the story came to me. Like, I knew how I wanted to shoot it, and I knew what elements I needed in order to tell this particular story, right? So I knew that I wanted to open the film with him cleaning off his gun, right? Because immediately that tells the audience something. And my whole goal was to mislead the audience in the film in order to tell the story that I wanted to tell, right? So I knew I wanted him to like be cleaning the gun, and that would immediately tell the audience that he is up to no good. And if you guys haven't seen the film, I'll put the link of America's Pitbull. I'll put it in the description so you guys can check it out. And then right after that, you see him in the car. And then my favorite scene in the whole film is when he pulls up to the liquor store and parks. Because as a director, I had to direct my little brother and kind of tell him, okay, when you pull up to the liquor store, I need you to like pull up. I need you to park. I need you to have a specific moment, like I want you to have a moment, and then I want you to put on the hoodie. So that's my favorite scene because it misleads the audience into thinking that he's gonna go do something crazy in this liquor store, which is, if you watch the film, it's the opposite, right? So that was my favorite moment, and that's, America's Pitbull. I was kind of basically experimenting to see if I could even tell a story, or even like if it'll be good, right? So I just basically told that story. I threw it online, and people reacted to it, and people loved it. And to this day, that's my favorite film personally that I've created. So you went from idea to story, and now you have a script. That's where the script comes in, and the script is the most important key to filmmaking, right? Because when you're reaching out to collaborators via, whether it's directors of photography, whether it's producers, actors, they're all gonna ask to see the script. So the script is the main key point, and a lot of people don't really understand that. They come to me with like all these ideas, but I'm like, okay, well, you got to turn this into a story, and then you have to turn it into a script before you even go into pre-production. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. There's 3 stages of production, right? There's pre-production, there's production, the actual filming of the project, and then there's post-production, which you're editing and doing all that kind of stuff. So I kind of want to touch on pre-production, right? So pre-production is right after, once you have the script and the script is locked and you understand what story you're telling, now we can go into pre-production, where it's, all the planning for production, like, which is so crucial. Like so many people skip out on this part of the process, which is the most important part of the process, in my opinion. So pre-production, you're finding collaborators. Like if there's a camera dude you want to work with, you send them the script. There's actors you want to work with, you reach out to them. You have to find locations, and it's really important to cater your script to your budget, right? So for instance, if I have a dating scene, right? If I have a scene where 2 actors are on a date, and I don't have the budget to get a restaurant, right? I may want to write that scene at a park, where a park that's within the budget. I could just pull up to the park real quick, steal that shot, and have that same moment that I would have in the restaurant at the park. You know what I'm saying? Just little tricks like that, could kind of, ease the stress about like finding like big locations if you don't have a super big budget to kind of pay people. So once you have your locations, you have your collaborators, you want to make your shot list and your shooting schedule and get everyone's availability. And this is the part of the process I see a lot of people, they quit at, because it's hard to like ask for people's time, especially if you have a low budget. Like you're asking people to basically do you favors, right? So you have to really bring something to the table and be passionate and persistent about your approach and your goal. Once you reach out to your collaborators, you need to get everyone's availability, and you need to do a shoot schedule, because it's really important to understand what you're shooting on the day of, right? So many people show up to set so unprepared, and it's so unprofessional to not know what you're doing on the day of. And this is why planning is so important, because you don't want to waste anybody's time and rub people the wrong way. If you have an actor whose scene is not till 3 p.m. and you guys are shooting the first scene at 8 a.m. and they're not in the first scene, do not schedule that actor for 8 a.m. if they're not shooting till 3 p.m. Like, that's a waste of their time, and it's very inconsiderate. And a lot of people make that mistake, like just wasting people's time and not knowing what the fuck they're doing. And you need to know, okay, how long is this scene gonna take us? How long do I need these actors on set? When can I wrap these actors? Because you want to be so aware of their time, and you want to make sure that you're letting people know that you appreciate their time and you're not going to waste their time. That's all about building relationships and being professional and getting people to want to work with you again in the future. Pre-production, you have your script, you have your collaborators, you got your locations, everything's good. Now we could move into production, which is the actual filming of the project. So production, if you have a strong pre-production, production is not going to be easy. You're always going to run into, things that go wrong on the set. But you can always have the pre-production to fall back on, because you're prepared for anything. You've planned, you've prepared for whatever. I have my shot list. I know what I'm shooting. I know that, okay, if we can't shoot this scene, we can move into this scene right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, having a strong pre-production is really going to prepare you for the actual filming. Me, I like to get as much coverage as I can. Like, I'll do takes. Like, anybody who's worked with me knows, like, I won't move on until I got it. You know what I'm saying? And then once we got it, it's one for safety. I need one for safety because when we're editing, I want to pick from as many real moments as I possibly can. And I want to make sure we have enough coverage of every angle. So, you know, I think coverage is really important. So I don't like to show up to set figuring shit out. I want to show up to set and we start shooting. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you could do that is to have a strong pre-production. Okay, so you're in production, you wrap principal photography, you're good on production, you got all the footage that you need. Now it's time to move into post-production, which is a very important part because the film or the project is created in post-production, right? So you can have an amazing script. You can have all the coverage that you got, but you're literally crafting, it's like a puzzle. You're putting all the pieces together in post-production. So literally the movie is created in post-production. And it's literally, if not the most important part. I think pre-production is the most important part, but post-production is like, that's where the movie is made, right? So you need a good editor. That's where you put in your score, your music, do your color grading. And then once you're done with post-production, now we're talking about distribution. So that's whatever, if you want to put it on social media, if you want to go to film festivals, that's cool too. There's a black film festival that I would personally recommend because they show love. It's called Indie Night. They show love to basically almost every black filmmaker. And it's a really good platform to get your work in front of certain industry people and to basically showcase your work in front of an audience on a big screen. And they do it at the Chinese Theater. So look up Indie Night Film Festival. I like to post all my films on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Know your audience. For me, Instagram and Facebook are the biggest places because Facebook, I could put whatever on there. My family is gonna share it regardless, right? And then their friends are gonna see it, and it kind of like just makes its own wave. And on Instagram, I have a decent amount of following. I'm still trying to build that, but Instagram is another place where my audience is. So just knowing your audience and knowing where you need to be posting your content is critical. So yeah, man. Once you put it out there, it's kind of like you're giving it to the world, and it's up to them to interpret your art. And don't get discouraged. It's all a learning experience. And one thing that I really want to say is, like, make sure you finish your work, right? Like, so many people don't finish, and they basically waste everybody's time. And that's what's going to distinguish you and separate you from the pack, right? Because 9 times out of 10, most people aren't finishing their work. So if you're finishing your work and you're putting out content and you're being consistent, people are going to gravitate to that, and that's what's going to separate you from everything, because people are going to take you seriously, and people are going to want to work with you. So please just take it seriously, finish what you started, complete your projects, because most people don't. I can't tell you how many productions I've been a part of where niggas weren't serious and they just didn't finish. So get to the finish line, man, and put your content out there. Put yourself out there, because nobody is going to be your biggest cheerleader than you. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do, and you got to put yourself first in this business, and you got to be serious about it, because it's way too competitive to be fucking around, right? So, like I said, I'm still learning. I'm not an expert at this. I just want to give you guys informational stuff and basically kind of tell you guys what I've learned in the past and what I've learned developing my own short films. But I have information. So if you guys have any questions or you guys need any kind of help, like, comment below, let me know, and hit me up. And please like, comment, and subscribe to the page. I'm gonna be doing more weekly videos like this to kind of give you guys information and to help you guys out, man, because I wish somebody would have done that for me as a young filmmaker. If you guys have, basically made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.